The last piece of the server code is the web service layer, which is again relatively boilerplate driven. The web services mostly invoke the service layer without much imagination. That's a good thing in engineering terms. Boring is good, but it doesn't make a thrilling story. So please bear with me, as this will pick up pace a bit when we connect to the client side. We have three web service classes: user web service, media web service, and post web service. Just like the user service, this class is pretty big and also includes some additional capabilities from the notification service. Despite that, most of the class is boilerplate. There is still a lot of it, so I'll try to keep it manageable by splitting it down a bit. The web service is located at the /user base, which means any URL would be below that. We map two services in this single service. Since notifications has just one method, it made sense bringing it here. The exception handler grabs one of the three exception types that can be thrown in one of the methods in this class and convert them to an error response object. Notice that the error response is the error DAO, which generates JSON with the error message. This is the error DAO class. The error DAO object is just a simple DAO that includes the error message and an optional error code. The user login URL returns the response as JSON in the body and accepts a JSON request in the body of the post. The exception will be converted to an error DAO if it's thrown. The user/refresh method is a get operation. Notice that it doesn't accept an argument. It uses an HTTP header named auth for the authorization token. Notice I used the auth header almost everywhere, as it's a standard part of the request. You will notice the code is very simple. It's declarative code that defines how the web service will look before delegating to the underlying service class. Next, we have the operations that map an avatar. This means the URL user/avatar/user ID would return the avatar JPEG directly and would work even if with the browser. So we can share this URL. Response entity lets us control the HTTP response, including the MIME type and media content. In this case, we send a 404 response when the user doesn't have an avatar. I use the get method to make a change in the set avatar request. This simplifies the code, as it already requires a separate operation to upload the media object. The friend request methods are trivial and nearly identical. They both accept the same arguments and pass them on to the underlying web service call. I use a get operation because I don't want to add a DAO and get into the complexities of post for this case. Normally, a get operation is a bad idea for an operation that triggers a change. I wouldn't do this on the web, since it can lead to accidental resubmission of data. However, since my client here is an app, the use of get operation simplifies some of the syntax. Finally, the last piece of the user web service code is the notification and contacts support. This method allows us to page through the list of notifications, fetching a new page dynamically as needed. We can submit a list of contacts for the shadow user through this API. Notice that a list from JSON will implicitly translate to the given contact list. With that, we can finish the relatively simple user web service.